Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now. Welcome, everybody, to the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. My name is Gabe Brzezinski Jr., and I'm joined by Chops, Michael Mills. Chops, how you doing?
Man, living life, brother. Living life. Glad we got, Lord bless us all another year. So I'm doing well, man. How was your new year?
Very, very blessed, Chops. Very blessed. We're it's always, even though you have some rough road, there's always someone that's got it worse, and we just keep
man, absolutely. I say that to my wife all the time, and she says, I get that, but that doesn't take away if I'm hurting or I'm aching. And I said, babe, somebody didn't wake up today. Somebody has it worse. And she says, yes, Michael, I get that. However, it doesn't take away from what you're going through.
Absolutely.
But it's like, how do I complain about my hand hurting when there's people that don't have an arm? You know what I'm saying? That's how, and we're older. I'm older than you. So when I was raised, unless it's falling off, you don't complain about it. You know what I mean? Because, and I remember in my neighborhood, somebody can saying, hey, how's your day? And somebody else replying quite often, which used to complain and nobody wants to hear it anyway. You know what I mean? So that's how I've lived my life. So yeah, like I said, but been blessed. I was up, I live in Atlanta, but I was up in Pennsylvania for Christmas every other year, try to get my folks down here, whatever have you, but was up in Pennsylvania. It was high 50s and the 60s when I left here. Get to PA and it's in the 20s. It was ridiculous. It was horrible, man. It was terrible. Now we're all getting hit with this cold front, so I'm not doing well, man. I'm not doing well.
Man, I'll tell you what, we're cold up here. I'm in Detroit area, and we're in the 20s, but we're not getting the snow. The snow south of us, it's nailing like Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, and it's just, and I'm sure it's hitting the East Coast too. It's a pretty significant band of storms, but we're missing it, but we got the cold weather, so we're like in the teens and single digits at night. It's gonna be like that for next week. But that's life in the Great Lakes state.
I know, but you guys are sort of amped up, and hyped because you're Detroit Lions. Man, that was you. What?
It never happened before. It's never happened.
And to be honest with you, man, I figured they were the better team. I just didn't. And I don't want to say the word destiny, but man, you guys feel destined. Can't have that many injuries and still play that well.
Yeah.
I understand it. I love Campbell. He's got the guts of a cat burglar. But there's just sometimes, man, when I'm not saying he gets in his own way, but the smart money is, dude, take the three or dead or whatever. He's got the guts of a cat burglar. You know what I mean? So he's on it. So we'll see, man. We will see.
Yeah, it's uncharted waters for us, man. We've never had a first round bye for being the number one seed. They had a bye in 91, but they were the number 2 seed.
Yeah. And I mean, that beat down you guys put on the Vikings, I don't think, even you're a diehard Lions fan, I don't think you saw that coming.
No,
not that coming.
And the score is deceiving because at the half I believe it was 10-9 at the half.
It was.
And they just chipping away in the second half, and Minnesota couldn't answer on offense. So the Lions won their thing.
And that's why it's not like Minnesota was driving and they fumble and somebody scooping scores goes 90 yards. No, it's not like they threw a couple pick sixes. At halftime, it was very competitive. But it's like Campbell got you guys in the locker room, was like, fellas, this is what we're here for. This is what we wanted. And you guys turned it up, man. I mean, it was when I'm talking about pulled away, it was shocking to me. That was shocking. I got my Steelers this Saturday. I'm ready to see what the gear. I'm repping my boys. The smart money is everybody's going to go with the Ravens. However, and I understand they put the stat out that the Ravens of all the playoff teams have the largest differential of win points. And I think it's like by 130 or something of that nature, where the Steelers is like minus 30 or something like that. They're not a high scoring team. They're going to beat you 19-17, 18-16. But Steelers are what? On a 4-game skid.
Yeah.
Ravens are on like a 4 or 5 game win streak, whatever it may be. But it's the Ravens and the Steelers. You got to throw records out. You got to throw streaks out. This is going to be a fight at midfield, and I'm ready, man. I'm again. I understand most people are going to bet and go with the Ravens. I get that. He hasn't won since 2016 a playoff game. I'm keeping faith. Keep hope alive, brother. I'm keeping hope alive that my man Tomlin can go in to Baltimore and sneak out a win. I'm not saying they're going to make a deep playoff run, but when you're playing the Browns, the Bengals, or the Ravens, anything is up. You can't. It's AFC North, baby. It's AFC North. You cannot. You know you're from the black and blue division. You know how it is.
The same.
You know what I mean? So yeah, man. But I'm geeked. I'm ready.
That's fantastic. I mean, and that's people have brought that up, and it's always come up. The Lions swept their division this year. It's very, very difficult to beat team 3 times in the same season, even if you're home.
Yes.
But you know what? That's a loser's mentality. My mentality with the Lions is, do I think they can beat anyone? Yeah, they can. Do I think they're going to? If they bring their A game, yes. They can't sleepwalk through a game and beat anyone in the playoffs. They have to bring their A game.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the defenses, the injuries you guys have, you have to come to play. You have to. It's not even. But my God, man, you guys. I mean, your defense is a mash unit. I mean, you had guys that were delivering for UPS 3 days ago. One guy working at Papa John's, and now they're playing ball. And Campbell, he's got them believing. They're executing Glenn. They're executing Glenn's defense to a scheme. I mean, it's phenomenal, man. It's phenomenal. So
we're already having a bon voyage party for Aaron Glenn. He's going to be coaching somewhere next year, and it won't be in Detroit. I mean, I that's my personal view of it. Why a team wouldn't snatch him up? And Ben Johnson, he's been a hot name for 3 years now, but he's been very particular. He may or may not go. I don't know, but I think Aaron Glenn is going to go. Especially that Saints job he's already interviewed for. I think that could be an issue. So, you should expect that. And, I wish them the best because they're good dudes. So,
yeah.
Be cool.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. We will see. That Lord knows I will be in front of the TV this entire weekend. It's
going to be fun. And I'm glad I don't have any stress. So I'm happy about that.
I know.
I love the Steelers. I would love to see them beat Baltimore because I'm very concerned about Lamar Jackson and company. Very concerned about him. But let's jump into boxing. Chops, it's 2005. We're going to talk about some boxing what ifs now. Some fights that have been talked about for a while, and maybe some that we'd like to throw out there and just talk about. Let's see what we'd like to see in 2025. We certainly would like to see some of these guys be a little more active than what we saw in 2024. But let's jump right at it right now. We already know Beterbiev and Bivol are fighting. The second fight is in February. I believe it's the 21st. Don't quote me on that date, but I believe it's the third week of February they're fighting. So first question, Chops. If Bivol wins, is there going to be a trilogy? What do you think?
Okay, you know what? And I hate to jump off, because everybody sees how you get down with your slides and everything, and you were very meticulous. I wanted to just switch notes, man, because we always talk about you don't play boxing. Boxing is very serious. And we just had a death, Paul Bamba.
Yes.
What, 35 years old, 6 days after winning a belt? I'll admit, at this time, I still haven't heard what the cause of death was. Yeah. However, I had seen a couple interviews and where he had talked about he is in some fights. He was in a couple fights, a couple bangers, and he was saying he thought he had brain damage. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you happen to see that or read that as well, but he was telling people, he had brain damage. Now, again, remember when Mike Tyson was fought and he was being interviewed by Larry Merchant in the ring? He said, I broke my back. My back is broken. We've seen other fighters say my hand's broken. And it wasn't. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But what's happened and how this man has lost his life so early, you have to wonder if there was truth to what he was saying. That one just shows you the heart of a fighter where he has to have his team to protect him because they'll never quit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's why fighters need their corners to throw the towel in. And again, I don't know what the damage, the brain damage was, but it does stop and make you think. If he had brain damage, any kind, let's not forget, you can't play a football game if you don't pass concussion protocol. Okay. Why or what doctor, what sanctioning body would it allow that? You know what I mean? If there's some research done, if there's deep diving and it finds out that this man had brain damage, I don't know what tests were performed. I don't know where he got that. You know what I mean? I'm assuming some doctor told him that, or if it was misconstrued that they said it could lead to brain damage. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm just hoping that this family doesn't find out that, yes, he had brain damage and he shouldn't have been in there. You know what I mean? That's just what I'm hoping. You know what I mean? Because he won the fight. He walked away from it. He was doing his own thing. So it wasn't like a Benny Pareto. It wasn't like a Duck Who Came. It wasn't like he got beat in the ring. You know what I'm saying? So, but you don't know. So I would, just for his family, I hope they get closure. And they may already have it. They just decided not to release it. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And condolences and prayers to his family, no question. He mentioned specifically not only the damage, but also the having to drop 22 pounds in 3 days. Wow, that's crazy. That's a lot of, I get 10 to 15. Some people can do that much, over 20 pounds, 22 pounds. Oh my goodness. I mean, that's taxing on the body. I don't care who you are. It's good.
And here's, and I know with this day and age, they're not, it's not Pony Express. You're not riding, to the house. You're not going to the house. They'll make a Zoom call. They may make a phone call. Hey, Mr. Drzezinski, I know it's only 4 days notice, 8 days notice. Do you want to fight so-and-so? You're a fighter. You're going to say yes. Unless you have a prior extremely important family emergency or family something engagement you can't get out of, most fighters are going to say yes, because if you turn down a fight, a lot of fighters are talked about, and they always say he took it on short notice, whatever have you. I think at some point, if that's true, when they call you, we're going to do a Zoom call with you in 20 minutes. Can you answer? Absolutely, yes. Get on. When they do this Zoom call, I want to see you get on the scale, because if you are giving a guy 3 days notice, I don't think you should be more than 12, 15 pounds. And that's a lot in 12. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because now you have to rehydrate within, 24 hours? It's no longer 48.
Yeah.
So that, to me, you have to realize that's dangerous on the body. And somebody has to be there to protect the fighter. You have to. 22 pounds in 3 days, man, that means that man is sweating out everything. He's not eating anything. Nope. He's not eating.
Yeah, that messes with your head badly. Very badly.
Yeah. And at some point, man, picture driving your car on no oil. Oh, I went X amount of miles over. Okay, great. And now I got my oil changed. You keep doing that, at some point your engine's not going it's not gonna jump back. It's not gonna get back. And I'm just hoping, man. I mean, he was a warrior. He was a fighter. He gave as good as he got. But I just, again, prayers to the family, and I hope and I never say when a fighter is that young, anybody, it doesn't matter if they're a fighter or not. When a family member goes that young, I don't know if there can ever be closure, but my prayers with the family, my prayers with the family. And I just, again, I didn't want to get off topic, but I felt that's something we had to mention. Because again,
I'm glad
you don't play boxing. You do not play boxing. And this is further, And again, he might have hypothetically, could have died from the flu and they're not releasing. I don't know. But again, losing, I would think that it's something to deal with boxing because it hasn't been released. You know what I mean? Again, I hate to assume, but that's what I'm guessing. Because if it had been a car accident, if it would have been a fall and hit his head, I think they would have released that, but I don't know. Again, I'm sorry, I apologize for that, man. Let's get on. Let's get rocking and rolling.
I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. So let's talk about, Better Biev and Bivol are fighting in about a month from now, month and a half. Scenarios. If Bivol wins this fight, do you think there's going to be a trilogy?
Okay. If Bivol wins, yes. It depends. Let me back that up. And I say it depends.
Okay.
Because when Better Biev won, he threw more punches, he landed more. But in your mind, was it an impressive win?
Oh, it was a very close fight. A lot of people think Bivol won it. because he was more economical. Because
Yes,
they landed almost the same amount. He better be about. I'll punch him almost 2-1.
200 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me rephrase that, because now that you answered, I realize I didn't phrase it properly. I understand. Don't compare it to Hagler Hearns, but was it action? See, you and I saw it differently. Was it action packed to you?
No.
Okay. So we agree on that.
Yeah.
So the question was, if Bivol wins, is there a trilogy? Is there a rematch? I say it depends, because if he wins in spectacular fashion, puts on a boxing display, beats up Better Biev, crazier things have happened. I don't see it happening, but let's say that it happens. Okay. Or he knocks him out, gets him out of there, or punishes him from round 1 to round 12, or he's a clear-cut victor, 8-4, 7-5. Yeah, you got to run that back. You got to run that back because they both won, whatever have you.
Yep.
But if Bivol wins in less than stellar, then it comes down to, do we want to see another boring fight? And I hate to use those words, boring, because neither one of those guys are boring. But just as much as styles make fights, styles can sometimes kill a fight. You know what I mean? So, and then let me ask you this before you answer, because I want you to throw this answer into yours too. If Bivol wins in the same way, Bivol wins, it doesn't matter. Some people said he won the first one. Some people thought he won. Nobody said it was a robbery that Better Biev got it. But some say Bivol won that one. Now, does Bivol look at it at his team? I know I'm 2-0. Why do I want to do this again? So throw that into throw that into your reply and your response. How do you feel about that?
No, it's interesting to me. I mean, I had Better Biev winning the first fight. Obviously, the judges did. It was close. Style is important. If Bivol wins and it's, to your point, more of a chess match, which you and I will appreciate, but most boxing fans are probably not going to dig that.
Yeah,
so it won't be a money fight. So what I would say is, I think there's going to be a trilogy if Bivol wins, regardless of how. But what I will say is, if the fight's a great fight, action-packed, it's going to happen by the end of 2025. They're going to run it back quick.
Okay, they ran this one back pretty quick to me.
They did. They absolutely did. Like 5 or 6 months, right?
Yeah.
If Bivol wins in less than stellar fashion, I believe there'll be one, but I think it might be contingent on maybe a fight in between.
I was going to ask you that. Okay, so now here's the thing, right? Bivol is now 34, right? So having said that and thinking about what you're thinking, okay, if Bivol wins and they go for the trilogy, either one of them, how do you fight? And I say that because at this point where they are, there's only a couple names that they can really get in the ring with, okay? So neither one of these guys needs a tune-up fight, all right? Neither one of these guys needs a tune-up fight. Now, Better Biev is late 30s. He's late 30s, right? But we see guys fighting, later in their years, now into their 40s.
Absolutely.
So, but you bring a good point up. A lot of times guys do want to fight between. But I think that's normally guys that need to work on something, guys that are trying to come up the ranks, guys like, I could have got him, but I got to work on this. But these guys are so seasoned with that, really, because in their case, like, okay, as we started out, we talked about football, right? Real quick.
Yeah.
With a pass play, only 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. You can be incomplete, you can be intercepted, or it can be completion. 2 of those for you, an incompletion or interception, are bad. So if either one of these guys takes, for lack of term, a tune-up fight, not that they'd really need it, but if they win, you didn't beat anyone. You're top of the food chain anyway. If you lose or don't look as good winning, now your purse in the rematch, the trilogy for Bivol or Better Biev, it's falling a little bit. You know what I mean? And you're right. They ran this back in October. So you figure November, December, January, 4 months. Because they're doing this, February 22nd?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So it's basically like 4 months, man. So that's quick. But see, there's not a whole lot of tweaking. You don't need a lot of X's and O's in this one. You know what I'm saying? You really don't. So I'm excited about it. But my thing is, if B-Vol wins, yes, we'll see a trilogy. We'll see a trilogy.
I think so too. I really do. I really do. Now let's look at the flip side of this. If Beterbiev wins the rematch, that eliminates a trilogy in my view, at least anything immediate. Who do we possibly see him taking on the winner of the David Benavidez David Morrell fight, which is happening on the 1st in a couple weeks here?
Yeah. Okay. It depends on. I hate doing this flip flop, and it depends again because if it's another close one, because again, there are some people that have B-Vol. You're not screaming from the rafters that he got robbed, but some people thought B-Vol might have won it. I get that. Okay, so if Beterbiev wins again, they might be able to sell a third one, possibly. Now, between Benavidez and Morrell, that one depends on how it goes down. Because to me, also in the same token, if it's lackluster, if there's not a lot of action, there's not a lot of hard punches, nobody really shows a good chin, how do you feel them getting in with a Beterbiev? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now, ideally, and it could be a lot of scenarios, depending on how Morrell or Benavidez wins this. If either can win in dominating or spectacular fashion, one of them set themselves up for a huge payday. Huge payday. Yeah. Now, if Beterbiev can win in spectacular fashion or dominating, or not even dominating, but he won it 115, 130. You know what I mean? He won a good round, 2 rounds higher. Okay, I get that. No, we don't need a trilogy. But either way, and when I say either way, if Beterbiev handles business, Benavidez handles business, or Morrell, whoever, and they win in spectacular fashion, this could be a huge payday. Huge payday. You know what I mean? So that, to me, looking forward, that could be a huge, huge payday. You know what I mean? So I'm interested in looking at it. Is there, off the top of your head, okay, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. If Beterbiev wins spectacular fashion, we don't need a rematch. And Benavidez wins. Because would you rather see Benavidez come out the winner of this or Morrell or the winner of this one?
Based on this scenario and what I've known from both fighters, and I've seen Morrell fight a few times, but I've seen Benavidez more. Yeah. Beterbiev and David Benavidez would be an outstanding fight.
He's the money fight. He's the money fight.
Yeah.
Okay. He's the money fight. So Benavidez wins, right? He handles his business. Beterbiev wins, handles business. When I say handle business, there's no, oh, he got robbed, or man, that was a razor's edge. No, he won it, whatever have you. Okay. So in doing that, would you like to see, depending on how he loses, Morrell, would you like to see Morrell and B-Ball? No, B-Ball.
Oh,
like the, I hate to say losers bracket, but you know what I mean. If Beterbiev and Benavidez go, would you like to see mid 2026 or 2025? Would you like to see B-Ball and Morrell go? I would.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Regardless of who wins these fights, these are 4 outstanding fighters.
Yes,
they are great fighters. I would pay to see any of them fight.
And it's funny that you say that, depending on who wins, because we know who we'd like to see win. You know what I'm saying? We would. And honestly, I'd like to see them, but maybe he goes to the opponents. We'll see. Morrell, I can't tell. But in the first fight, was B-Ball, I mean, we know he's a monster. I thought, Beterbiev was a bigger monster going into it. He didn't dominate. He didn't win in spectacular fashion. So I'm looking for that, hoping for that this time around. But the way both guys throw leather, I don't think it's going to be anybody's game plan is better. Will B-Ball engage this time? Not saying he ran, but he truly boxed the first time. He used every bit of that ring. He used every bit of it.
Yeah, and that's a great question. One will hopefully answer in detail when we preview that fight in a few weeks here. But I've not personally seen B-Ball fight differently any time in the last couple of years. That's how he fights. That's how he fought Canelo. It's
Yeah.
how he fought Beterbiev. He's going to bring to the table what he brings to the table, which is
you are who you are.
Boxer. Yep. Now, again, he's extremely efficient and he's very sound. I love watching him box. A great boxer.
You know what makes it, I hate to say again, word running, but you know what I think made it look like he was possibly running? You're right. He always uses boxes, uses the ring, but he never looks like he's being hunted. But you know what I'm saying? And when I say that, Beterbiev kept coming forward.
Yeah.
Beterbiev, we don't see that against Bivol. So maybe that was the optics of it. Why people used the, and I was one of them. I don't want to say ran because I don't want to disrespect him like that. You know what I mean? But he's a boxer. He did what he did. He danced with who brought him. He's, like I said, he's the same fight in every fighter, but it was different because he punished Canelo. He beat up Canelo. Yeah. You know what I mean? And Canelo was in a position with him he had never been in, right? Even when he lost to Floyd, he was just outpointed and he was young. Mm-hmm. But Canelo was always walking guys down. Yeah. Now, to me, Triple G beat him. I think I had Triple G getting the better of those trilogies. But we hadn't seen anybody do to Canelo what Beterbiev did. You know what I'm saying? So Bivol did. So, man. But you're right. I'd like to see Benavidez win. I'd like to see Beterbiev win, and let's set them up. And I think it'll be later. It'll be a longer than 4 or 5 months, only because we're seeing this rematch so soon because they know each other. There's not really there's you know what I mean. After this fight, they probably sat around for a week or two, put on a few pounds. Then after that, just hit back into the gym. There's not a whole lot of game planning and scheming for this rematch.
No, you're right.
But, you know what I mean? So, but we'll see. I'd like to, and we'll get into it later in the week, future podcasts on when we break these fights down. But for me, I'd love to see in 2025, maybe late June or mid-July or, whatever. I'd love to see Beterbiev versus Benavidez. That'd be the one for me. I'd love it.
That would be an outstanding fight. Let's jump ahead, Chops. Been reading about this. Tyson Fury, the former heavyweight champion, just lost to Usyk a second time in the rematch against another former champion, Anthony Joshua, both from the UK. You think this one's going to go down? And does it make sense?
Okay. If first off, this is boxing ought to be ashamed of themselves that it's taken this long to make this fight, right? If it goes down, first and foremost, they should definitely be ashamed.
Yep.
Number two, outside of the UK, right? Outside of the UK, who wants to see that? And the only reason I say that is because Fury's what, 39 something. He's 37, 38. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know what Joshua you're going to get. You just don't know. You know what I mean? So, and he's proven everything he can. Fury fought Wilder because those were the big money fights.
Yep.
He fought Ngannou because Ngannou was the new sideshow, right?
Yep.
He fought Usyk because Usyk was coming up. You're the man. That's a big payday. You beat me. Oh, I got to get my get back. So he hit the rematch. At this point, Fury is a professional angler. He's only going for the big fish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that payday there? How can you, if you go with the Sheik, because I do think you have to have a huge card, because if you try to do that anywhere else, I don't know, like outside of the UK and the Sheik, if you do, he doesn't want to do it in the UK. How would the pay-per-view buys be outside of the UK? So I don't know. I don't know, man. So to me, yes, it makes sense on the aspect of these are the next biggest names in heavyweight. It doesn't make sense because I don't know it'll draw the eyes and the money that it would have, 4 or 5 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know outside, like I said, outside the UK, if it'll draw the eyes. And does Fury want to fight anymore? You know what I mean? Does he want to? Not trying to be funny. Mm-hmm. He, again, fights for belts. He didn't fight for a belt with Ngannou, but that was the big name out there. There's a lot of money to be made. For Wilder, it was for belts. Usyk, it was for belts. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. He doesn't need to fight Joshua. You know what I mean? 40 years old, his legacy set. And he damn sure doesn't want to go out on 3, possibly 4 straight losses. Because he beat Ngannou, but they gave him the decision. But you know what I mean? So
shaky.
Yeah, he's got more money than he can spend. What's the, you know me, what's the benefit of doing anything? What's the benefit of fighting Joshua at this point?
It's a payday. I got it right down here. I said it makes sense in the UK on DAZN. It makes perfect sense there. Do I think it'll happen? Yeah, I kind of do, actually. I do. And I think Eddie Hearn's going to push to make it happen. If the Sheik gets involved, if he gets involved, then he knows he's going to be able to put together a card that's going to generate the views.
Because he has more money than Hearn.
Yeah,
so he can offer bigger paydays.
Yeah, and if it as a standalone fight, it would not generate the pay-per-view buys outside of the UK. Now, you and I probably watch it.
Oh yeah.
And I think it'd be a pretty entertaining fight. I guess it depends on. It could be an entertaining fight. And you brought it up. What are they fighting for? Do they even want? Does Fury even want it anymore? So that plays a big part in this. If each guy is using this fight as this is my springboard for one last shot, because if I win this fight, I'm in line for something, one more. Yeah, it makes sense then. But if it's no, this is my last payday, my last hurrah in front of the home crowd, I'm gonna do my thing, put on a show. It might be a very disappointing pay-per-view.
Okay, so now you got me asking questions that I hadn't even thought of. Okay, number one. Is we talk about a springboard. You have Fury, who lost twice to the champ Usyk. You have Joshua, who lost twice to the champ. Do we want to reread that book? Do we want to watch that movie again? You know what I'm saying? Number two. Okay, now talk about in the UK. And Eddie Hearn, he can't put the money that she can together. Okay, so then my question would be, and you talk about have to be part of a great card. Put Conor Benn on that card.
Yeah.
Then for the heavyweight title, because those guys normally could headline as in Fury and Joshua, but neither one of you are the champ. So let's make this. We're all gonna have bangers and mash. It's gonna be a UK day with fish and chips. Usyk and Dubois is the headliner. I understand Usyk's not from BK. You're the UK. He's not. But you've got Dubois. You know what I'm saying? Yep. You've got Fury, you've got Joshua, you've got Conor Benn. That you might be able to sell. Now, again, huge in the UK. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but if you put together that card, no, by the way, how about we finally get Chris Eubank Jr. in the ring?
Ooh, yeah.
Now you're talking.
Now you're cooking. Now you're cooking with grease. Yeah, that might be something. But Drew, I mean, take your time, and if you can, we can always circle back to this. What is the reward for watching? We like it because you know me. I throw it 2 old ladies bingo. I'll watch them fight over bingo card. I don't care.
Yeah.
But what's the end game? Those two win. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Unless one of these young heavyweights finally steps up, you know what I mean? You've got Zhang. He's in his 40s. You have Wilder. He's getting up there. But anybody with a jab gives him fits. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Harkovic. Okay, but he's getting older. We like to see him in Usyk. I don't know.
Well, you bring up an interesting point there too, and who's on the up and coming. Well, we just saw a cruiserweight title fight this days ago. Jaya Pataya, 4th round KO over David Nika, who took the fight at short notice.
Yeah.
Opataya is looking scary good.
Man.
And at 198, he ain't far. He's a heavyweight.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you see how thin he looks, and he weighed in at 198, 200. Yeah. Right? He was literally only 25 pounds less than what your boy Usyk weighed in for his last fight, because he weighed at 223 when he fought Fury. 223. Yeah. Okay. So, but here's my thing. Again, this is where the camp should have been there, because Nika or Nika, however you pronounce it, he's on the come up. He was 12-0. And I understand you wanted a title fight, but this is where your corner, this is where your team has to protect you from yourself. I know you had a long amateur career. He was winning like Pan Am Games or something back in 2014, right? But you've only got 12 professional fights. Opaida, or however you pronounce his name, Jai, he was at 27, 28. There's a difference in level competition. There's a difference in experience. There's a difference in education in that. And it showed. It was only 4 rounds, but it showed. It showed, you know, is in he gave as good as he got for a little bit, you know, Nika, but he was just Opaida was just too strong, too big, which you were right. You said it, you know, in our text, and a lot of people should be privy to, you know, just us going back and forth. You think he'll be a heavyweight within 18 months. Yeah. Here's the thing. If it was years ago in the 90s, he could be a heavyweight within 2025 and look good at 220, 225. Now the heavyweights are so much heavier, but again, he's got speed, he's got power. What is he, 34, 35? I'd have to look up his age. But when you talked about 18 months, it got me thinking.
He's 29.
He's 29. He'll be 30 in June. I know his birthday's in June because Tyson's is in June.
Yeah, so
Usyk he's a January baby. That I remember. And he's 38. Usyk is at least 38, if not 39 already. Mm-hmm. Or he'll be 39 or whatever it may be. So you can't really go out 18 months. 40 years old, and now you're 40 fighting a 31-year-old. There's levels to this. And Opita at 31, I think it will be a mismatch for Usyk because Usyk is not a power guy. I don't want to say grimy, but he gives as good as he gets. He's going to stand in front of your chest and he'll throw out a lead jab and just wear you down. Opita has the energy. He's got a nice jab. What is he, 6'6"? 6'6"? You know what I mean? And he's not lazy like Fury was. He's not going to run out of gas like Fury does. He throws with power. And he digs the body. He goes to the body, which is a great recipe for success against Usyk. So, yes, I'd like to see that. I think, and with his frame, I bet you he walks around at 230. I bet you he does walks around at 230. So he could, you know what I'm saying? So he tuned it up. He could get in fighting shape. So I bet you we'll see him at heavyweight before the end of 2025. I really do.
I agree. I totally agree with you. I think he I don't know if he may make the jump and have a tune-up at the end of the year at that weight and then be in line for something. Who knows? But I think he's a name that's coming up. Everyone knows.
He may be the young heavyweight that we're looking on here rising. He may throw his hat in the mix and look for guys, you know, that whether it's your boy Miller, whatever, that start pushing like, oh, okay, we got some young bucks in the stable now. Let's get back to it. Because all these late 30s and 40-year-olds, what are we doing? You know what I mean? What are we doing? So, yes, it was an impressive fight. He threw power, and he took some shots. He had a nice welt under his eye after that fight. So he took some shots, but he kept giving as good as he got. And Opita, you're absolutely right. When it told me he was 198, I'm like, this dude looks like he's 170. It's a lean 198, lean. Yeah. So, and it's 6'6", he can carry the frame to easily be 225, 230 and still look good, you know, and still look good. So you're right. I'd like to see him at heavyweight. He jumped up, and that was a catchweight fight, wasn't it? Wasn't it a catchweight? I thought.
I'm not sure. I know the limit's 200, so they came in under that. So
no, you're right. You're right. They changed it. They changed the weight. That's you're right.
Yep.
Okay, you're changing weight. So you're right. He is up and coming, and I didn't hear what type of camp he had. You know what I'm saying? So how hard of a camp he had when you got a guy that takes the fight on what? A couple days now. What did Nika take that fight on?
I'm not sure how short notice it was, to be honest with you.
But it was short notice. When you think he hadn't had a chance to put in a proper game plan. I don't know how much weight he had to lose to get it. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, I don't know if Opita had a hard weight cut, but I know easily he could be a heavyweight. He could be a heavyweight and make a go of it. And there's some big fights up there that could be huge paydays for him. Huge.
You know it. I'm looking forward to watching him fight at the heavyweight. No question. Yeah. Hey, let's talk about another what if with Joshua. So if the Fury fight doesn't happen, could this one go down a trilogy?
Okay, real quick, and you just beat me to it real quick. Mm-hmm. Would Opita coming in is a heavyweight? Could you see his first fight? Is Joshua or Andy Ruiz too much for him in his first fight as a heavyweight?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. Ruiz, I would say no, because he's a pylon. Don't get too close to him or he'll bite you.
Yeah, yeah.
Opatai is going to do damage, and he'll bounce in and out. I think that'd be a nice fight for him to take to get his hat in the ring, so to speak, in the heavyweight division. Joshua, I would say he would need to fight somebody else at a similar size, and certainly be starting working with sparring guys that are 6'6", much like himself. He's gonna have to fight a guy his size that's even bigger than him. Anthony Joshua is a bigger version of Jai Opetaia in essence. He's at 245 roughly, chiseled. I would say he'd need but I think he's far more aggressive. That's the difference there in my view. He's far more aggressive than Joshua, and he wants it more.
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That would be interesting too. But as far as Ruiz goes, I'll throw my opinion right out there now. I don't want to see it, and I don't think it'll happen, but I don't want to see it.
Joshua and Ruiz?
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. I don't want to either. First off, they're 1-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they could have had the trilogy if they'd have wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make for good boxing. It just doesn't. And you know what else is crazy to me? You go back as far as you want. Go to the 90s, go to the early 2000s, go to the 70s, the 80s. Buster Douglas was sort of ill-built. Riddick Bowe wasn't chiseled. But you've got McCauley, you've got Ruiz, you've got who else we got? Even Fury. You got three guys that have dad bods that are being thrown around in the heavyweight division. You know what I'm saying? It's just weird to me that this is where heavyweight boxing has become. It just is. The fact that we're even talking about a Joshua Ruiz trilogy when that should happen years ago or a while ago. Joshua, like you said, Joshua Ruiz, to me, don't want to see it. I'm good. Don't need to see it.
It just, let me amplify my answer a little before we jump to the next scenario. I don't want to see it because here's the thing. If Joshua fights Ruiz's fight, Ruiz will put him to sleep. We saw that happen. I don't think it will change. If Joshua fights Ruiz the way he should, which is what he did in the rematch, it's going to just be a jab fest, and it's going to be it's not going to be interesting to watch. That second fight was dull. It was boring. But Joshua did what he needed to do to win the fight, and he swept it. Ruiz. Yeah. We can talk about how ready he was for the fight. It doesn't matter to me because to me, if Anthony Joshua was sticking and moving, Andy Ruiz doesn't have the gas tank or the wheels to catch him.
I know. Yeah.
So it's not interesting to me at all, and it sounds like you either. So we should probably move on to the next fight here potentially. Here's an interesting one: David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez. We heard about this a lot last year. We heard about it even late 23. Alvarez doesn't seem to really want any part of this. Do you think it'll happen?
No. I just don't. I think that's where the money is. And Canelo, you've done everything. You've, again, got more money than you ever spend. If you lose and get knocked out, go out on your shield. I think it should. What is it, 168? And Benavidez is what, 175?
Yeah.
I don't know if Benavidez has a hard time making weight. Do they do a catch weight, 173, 171, 172? You know what I mean? Or they go 175. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But even Canelo being older, again, certainly he should walk around a little heavier. I just don't know what he's fighting like at 175. Walking around at 175, 180 is different than fighting at 175. You know what I mean? But yes, I absolutely would love to see this. Absolutely.
Yep, I'd love to see it. I don't believe it'll happen. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm Canelo's team in his corner, I would say, yeah, we're not doing that one. And the reason why is because I just believe, regardless of what weight they'd fight at, David Benavidez is just the physically bigger man.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you're at heavyweight, it's no holds barred, basically. It doesn't matter what your weight. If you're over 200, you're a heavyweight. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But when you're any weight class below that, David Benavidez he has a physique that could carry. Shoot, I mean, honestly, the way he's built, he wouldn't look good, but he could carry 220 pounds.
Yeah. He really could.
Guy. Canelo's not a big guy. I mean, he's a compact, strong guy, but he's
just putting that weight on.
That's too much, even.
Yeah, you're just literally, and it's funny because you know what we say, because fighters, you can see two dudes at 175 both make the weight class. Man, he's so much bigger, and I think that's what we will see. I think that's what we would see, man. So that's what I'd like. That's what I would like to see. I'd love to see it go down, but we'll see. We will see.
So now let's jump ahead here. This little difficult to read here, but I apologize.
I got you.
But it's Bud Crawford. Who is he going to fight next? We got three names up here. We have Jermell Charlo, Sebastian Fundora, and our friend Canelo.
Okay.
Run it down.
Okay, real quick. If you fight Charlo and Fundora, you're trying to unify all the belts. You know what I mean? You want to unify them, even though Charlo was stripped. You want to unify them. I am the best at 154, no doubt. I'm the best at 154. The money would be against Canelo, but now we're looking at the same thing. What is he? He's 154. Canelo's what, 168?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Big dog. So when you look at it, what is that? 14 pounds?
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Two weight classes.
The money would be there for Canelo, but to unify the belts, the money, what do you want, the money or the legacy? Because you could get the money in fighting Fundora and Charlo if you unified and took them both out. Don't know if Crawford wants to be around that long. And when I say be around that long, because I can make the money in one Canelo fight or close to one Canelo fight that I can make both purses against Fundora and Charlo. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'd be, to be honest with you, I'd be excited about any one of them. Charlo, because of his speed, even though his last fight, he didn't look good because he got destroyed by Canelo. He got destroyed. You know what I mean? Canelo he whipped him from pillar to post.
Oh, yeah.
Fundora, who's it? Cruz? Was it Cruz that he beat on short notice? I'm looking right at, no, Costa. Not Costa.
Tim
Tszyu. He beat Tszyu. But Tszyu and Crawford, there's levels. There's levels.
Yeah.
So I don't know that him saying he's fighting Charlo after what Charlo looked like, if there's the big money there. But it'd be nice to unify the belts. Him fighting Fundora. Fundora's not a household name. You know what I mean? So again, I don't know. Let's put it this way. Fundora has a belt and Earl Spence doesn't, but I don't know. And I don't think Fundora versus Crawford would draw the eyes and the attention and the fanfare that Spence and Crawford did. You know what I mean? I just don't. I just don't.
It won't.
And that's crazy because Bellator should do that, but they don't. You know what I mean? So I'd like to see him fight Canelo, but I'd like to see him unify everything. But he's got enough belts. He's ready for his huge payday. And let's ride off into the sunset. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Bud's 37. I'll be frank. I don't want to see the Charlo fight. I'm not interested in seeing it. I think that ship has sailed.
I got you.
Fundora, to your point, I like him. I've been watching him almost from the get-go. He was on a lot of undercards early, on a lot of big fights, and I got to see him a lot. He's a nice fighter. Definitely his size. He reminds me of how Hearns was as a junior welterweight. I mean, it's 6'2", 145-pound guy throwing heavyweight shots. I mean, Fundora doesn't hit that hard, and he's slower.
Yeah.
He's 6'6".
Yeah. Okay.
It's a minute bull. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. Going back to what you said that fight has passed. If Charlo had still lost to Canelo, but looked competitive, looked good doing it, maybe lost 115, 113, does that switch up what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay. So again, we're on the same page because of the way he looked last fight. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
You couple that with the layoff that, both him and his brother both had long layoffs.
No.
And it's like, and then this is how we follow it up. I mean, I get it. Canelo's one of the best fighters, perhaps of all time. He's in that conversation. Yeah, I don't want to see. I want to see Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez at
Yes.
a catch weight. I want to see it. That is a huge money fight. It would be, let everyone keep talking about Tank and everyone else at 140, 135. Quite frankly, I'll be blunt. I don't give a shit. I want to see Bud and Canelo.
Wow. Yeah. That is power versus precision to me, because Canelo is straight power all day, every day, where Bud is coming at you angles, whatever. He'll end up getting a knockout and end up punishing cats, but after wearing you down and with precision shots you don't see coming, he's slipping it. Man, I want to see that one. Gonna be the purse is gonna be phenomenal. We talk about Eddie Hearn. This will be Sheik. Sheik will have to put this money together. Sheik will have to put that money together.
Woo-hoo. Man, it's gonna be.
Man.
Okay, I gotta talk myself down here. I'm getting excited.
That'd be good. That would be huge.
Flip a coin if it's gonna happen. I have no idea, but that's the fight. I think honestly, that fight might be the biggest fight we've seen since Pacquiao Mayweather. That's a
man, you know what? And I was trying to think of who would it be? I was really trying to think who would it be.
It's on that level. It's on that level, man. So let's hope. We'll see what happens.
Man, I'll be right there, front and center, ready, Freddy.
Okay, we got about 10 minutes left in this episode, but let's talk about a couple more. Will this fight happen? Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney. Let's talk about that. Could this happen, and when do you think it will?
I don't know, and here's why. Because Devin Haney, there's another network he had signed on to fight, or he's looking to sign on to fight, and I'm sorry, I can't, Black Forum, I can't think what it is.
Yeah, okay. That's what it is, yep.
Yeah, so, and it's a guy that I don't even know who it is. I mean, it's not a big draw. It's not a big name. But if that's what you need to get back after a loss, do what you got to do. I don't begrudge you for that. But it does make me wonder. You were calling out Catterall and trying to get Eddie Hearn to do that in Catterall's town, in Catterall's country. Now you backed off in a different form. I don't know if they saw there was no money there or whatever have you. But would I like to see Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. Of course, Haney lost his last fight. Teofimo didn't look good. He has not looked good last couple fights if we're going to keep it a buck. Mm-hmm. So both guys need a tune-up or rebound. But mentally, where is Haney? Because if Haney comes back, and man, I wish I could remember the guy's name he's fighting. If he doesn't look good on this, dude, we're done. You're suing a guy who beat you. You've been taking this amount of layoff. You come back against a guy who on paper was significantly inferior to you skill set wise. You didn't look good and you didn't win. Teofimo, if you have a couple tune-up fights and you again don't look good, who's going to put money in fighting and watching Haney and Teofimo fight? If this had been 2 years ago, we're ready, Freddie. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and having said that, boxing is doing a lot. Put your thing cap on. Remember Lionheart from the USC? No, not the movie. From USC. I'm looking at him right now, man. The quarterback. He lost to Texas in the Ohio. He lost to Texas and Vince Young in the play with Reggie Bush.
Matt Leinart, yeah.
Leinart. If he'd have came out his junior year, he'd have been number 1 overall.
Yep.
Went back his senior year and he lost tens of millions of dollars. And boxing, to me, in a lot of ways, is losing out because they're waiting. Guys don't want to lose their O's. Guys don't want to put it on the line. And that's costing guys. Because if this had went down 2 years ago, there wouldn't have been a seat in the house. You'd have been to the rafters field. Teofimo was on the come up. Haney was on the come up. That'd have been huge. Now Teofimo hasn't looked good. Haney's gotten beat. Mentally, we don't know where he is. So both guys, to say I'm going to fight Teofimo, to say I'm going to fight Haney, you should take a tune-up, but you don't know what those guys are. So if Haney says, I want to tune up, if Teo says, I want to tune up, and they don't look good, you squandered millions. So it's tricky. So yes, I'd like to see it. There's a lot of moving parts in that I don't know how they'll play out and how they'll shake out.
Totally agree with you, but yeah, I would love to see the fight. I think it'd be a great fight. Honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely,
it's a high risk fight to your point because winner's in a great position. The loser's probably out of the money.
But it's because of how they've looked both recently.
Yep.
Because if this had went down 2 years ago, you're both young and up and coming. The winner, it skyrockets you. The loser, back to the drawing board, but you're not out. You're down, but you're not out. Now it's a different ball of wax. You know what I mean? So it is definitely a different ball of wax. But yes, I'd like to see that one. I would. I'd like to see that one.
Okay, we got 3 more fights we want to cover here before we wrap up, Chops. Let's talk about this one quickly. Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson. Is it going to happen?
Yes. Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Come on, man. I'm going to go yes, but I don't even know if I want to see it. I think it'll be a boring fight. As a tactician, I love Shakur. He's not exciting to me. You know what I mean? But I would like to see it. But yeah, I do. I think it's going to happen. I think through public, I think it's going to happen. I really do.
I'll be honest with you. I hope it will happen. I think there's probably a 51% chance versus a 49% chance of it not happening. I think it'll happen. But the more I keep hearing about it, the less I'm interested in it. I'm getting
because if you package him, Zepeda's hurt. He could have fought Shakur.
Yeah.
Your boy, he's fighting Roach now, which he could have fought. You know what I mean? So at some point, I would love for public pressure to mean something, but we'll see, man. So I don't know. I don't know if they'll fight or not. Let's hope.
Let's hope. Here's the second of the 3. Do we unify the heavyweight title?
Yes.
I think this is easy.
Yes, absolutely. Got to. Has to. Dubois still has a – he's got something coming up in February, doesn't he? Dubois. I think Dubois has a fight, but I can't think of who he fights. But I think – or is it January? Hold on, man, because I think he has somebody he has to he's got to fight because I think
mandatory, right?
Yeah.
But
I'd be honest with you, I'd give up that IBF. I would.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Joseph Parker on the 22nd. I'd give up that fight because Parker's a heavy hitter. There's what's the benefit in that? You're already in line to get Usyk. I would forgo that. Give up my purse. I'm going give up the belt. The IBF go after Usyk.
Yeah, I would agree with you there, definitely. I mean, because let's face it, he didn't really fight for that IBF title anyway. So Usyk's the man. I would go. I totally agree with that.
Yes, bigger fish. Go for bigger fish, bigger paydays. Go. I'm kidding. Yeah, man. That's me.
Here's another. Here's the last one here. Fundora against Errol Spence Jr. Now this is supposedly very close to going down. If they haven't already made a date yet, but it's one of those ones I'll believe it when I see it. But is this one you want to see?
Yes, because Fundora has a belt. Errol Spence was like that. I don't know if he was on something, and then saying that jokingly, tongue in cheek, if he was on something or what was going on. But he did not look like himself at all. No. Versus, but it's different if you got outclassed. He just got beat up. He just got beat up. So I don't know what was going on with that. And he hadn't asked for a rematch. So I don't know if it was the buzz. Just I don't know.
He didn't look right.
No, he didn't. But Errol Spence is still a talent. Fundora has a belt, and if Fundora gets this win and does in spectacular fashion, or the clear-cut victor, or Spence comes and takes his belt, that catapults more names, and that could be bigger paydays if we can't get Canelo and Crawford. Now we could get the rematch between Spence and Crawford. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know, but it could lead to a lot of things, man. So do you think it'll happen?
Yeah, I do. And I think Fundora is in a kind of a win-win situation because you mentioned
absolutely
if he were to lose the fight, but at least, like you said, go out on the shield and look good doing it. It's just back to the drawing board for him. That'd be not his first loss, but he would still be in the mix, if you would.
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, if he went out on his shield and showed a good show, and he could still have something.
So I would love to see it. I think I think that's honestly, I think even though Fundora is much longer and bigger than Spence, I think Spence's speed and style is tailor-made for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's still some other fights I'd like to see. You know what I mean? I'd like to see Catterall back in the ring, Taylor back in the ring, not maybe together, but there's other guys I'd like to see. So there's a lot of fights we could see in 2025. Those are the ones I want to see the most, man.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks, Chops, again. It's been a great show. Thank you, everybody, for watching and subscribing. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't already, like the podcast, like the episodes, check us out on the Roku ESEN Network channel every Friday night at 10 p.m. weekly. So for Chops, I'm Drew. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESEN network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HeySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.